Hi, today I'm going to show you how to define the ears for either a fox or a cat on the pointy head. This is part of the Mix and Match Lovey Pattern. And what you need is the head, a piece of yarn that matches the head, some stitch markers, a needle that's large enough to thread the yarn onto, and a pair of scissors. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to mark where we want to define the ears. And if you look on the pattern, the first instruction is to flatten the head. So it's worked in the round, and all you have to do is just kind of pinch it and flatten it until it lies naturally flat. And you've got these pointy little corners here, and this is where our ears are going to be. So we're going to count down between rounds 8 and 9. So if this is our first round up here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that would be 9. So we're going to start right in between those two rounds. I'm going to mark that with a stitch marker and then do the same thing on the other side, which really we can just go like this and find where that is on the other side. I'm going to mark that side. And then at the top, the instructions are to leave 4 to 5 stitches between the ears on the top. So I like to find the middle. So I'd say it's about there. And then that's about 4 stitches. And I think that that's going to make it look fairly even. So I'm going to mark that right there and see how it looks. 2, 3, 4. Like so. And as long as it looks relatively centered, I'd say that's pretty good. I'm going to go with it. So next I'm going to take the yarn and thread it onto my needle. And I'm going to start where that first stitch marker is. Slide that out and put the needle in. And I usually start with just a little stitch right on the corner there. And I'll weave that in later. So now I'm going to want to do a series of stitches that goes diagonally up towards that top stitch marker. So this marker defines the edge of this ear that we're working on now. So we're going to go towards that one. And it really does not have to be super precise, because once you stuff it, it's not going to be very clearly defined. And then I'm going to end at the top there the same way that I started, with just a little extra loop around the edge, like so. And I usually use one piece for both ears, but if you are more comfortable just using 2 separate pieces, go for it, because that works too. That's always a little bit safer too, just in case you make a mistake and you don't want to have to undo both of them. So now, because I'm using the same piece of yarn, I'm going to go through and come out around that stitch marker at the top there. Take that guy out of there so it's out of the way, and do that same stitch over the top that I did before. And now I'm going to be working down towards the final stitch marker, trying to keep basically the same diagonal. Pulling those stitches pretty tight too. You want them to hold. and ending with that little wraparound stitch. Like so. And then of course you're going to want to secure those ends. So what I like to do actually is to stuff it first, and then we can use the stuffing to kind of help bury those ends. Alright, so it doesn't really have a great shape yet. This is where the stuffing comes in. And you'll notice that I have another stitch marker down at the bottom here, and this is just holding my working yarn. This is the loop that I'm going to continue working with later. And the stitch marker is just holding that in place so I don't accidentally pull out everything I've already done. Okay, you can see it's starting to take shape, but we're not quite there yet. I always try to push the stuffing off to the sides and fill the middle. So if there's still lots of room there in the middle when I push it off to the side, then I want to just keep on filling that middle section up. Let's take a look at that now. There we go. Now we're really starting to get that cat shape. And I like to give it a little pinch along where I sewed just to define it. I'd say that's pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is show you how I secure these guys. Just go in at the base of the ear there and come out through the stuffing. And same thing on this side. And then we're going to tie it inside the head. Not too tight because you don't want to pull those sides in too much. However, if you do want to do a little bit of shaping here, you feel like your cat head isn't, or your fox, I guess, isn't quite the shape you want, one thing you can do is go straight up through the stuffing and out the top, somewhere in the middle there, and then down through a different stitch and back out through the stuffing. And when you give that a pull, it's just going to pull the center of the head down, and that's going to define the ears just a little bit more. So now they really stick out, kind of pointy. And then to finish it off, tie one more time. Like so. And that little short end can just get tucked inside. But this one I think I'm going to weave in a couple of times just for extra security. Just kind of zigzagging through the stuffing. Oops. And then take my scissors and trim it. And we're all set. And there's a little cat head or fox with some pointy ears. Thanks for watching.